Hi everyone. So yesterday, um, we conducted our read aloud by focusing on the main character's perspective, looking particularly at their wants and desires and the barriers. As we continue our read aloud today, we're going to continue to focus on those two things, but we're also going to add in a next step. We're going to ask about a character's past experiences. Um, Really, when we think about a character's past experiences, we're asking what things that have happened in the character's life have shaped them. So when we think about our narrator wanting to get out of his neighborhood, what has happened to him in the past that makes him want to escape this particular place? So we're going to continue our read aloud with the section of the story called The Fate of Your Hoop Development. And I zoned in on the title right away, the word fate, because it makes me think about a possible barrier the character might face. When I think of fate, I think of an outcome. And will something get in the character's way that will prevent him from succeeding in basketball with the ultimate goal of getting out of his neighborhood? So, for the past 3 years, you've spent every free minute balling at an outdoor court down the street from your building. After school, after games, weekends, you name it. And I'm sure you can relate to that, ladies and gentlemen, that there's something you are so passionate that any spare time you have, you devote to that activity. Most nights you're still out there putting up shots alone when the sun falls behind the ocean and the automatic park lights come on, flickering on, spilling that strange yellow half light across the cracked concrete. Ball is like anything else. So you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, he puts all his energy into being great at the game. Because remember, he wants a shot. This is going to be his way out. Put in enough hours, your game's going to blast off. Your jumper's now pure out to 25 feet, give or take. You've developed a little floater in the lane that leaves slow-footed big men flailing. But it's your handle that sets you apart. Your quicks, the way you can get into the paint at will and finish with either hand. So it's this particular skill, the way he's able to handle the ball, that's what sets him apart. That is what's going to get him noticed. This past season, you scored more points than any other eighth grader in the country. You were second in assists. So right here, these are his experiences playing ball this season. And you would think that he would feel pretty good about scoring more points than any other eighth grader in the country. But in this next sentence, we see that our narrator does not. He's encountering a possible barrier. It ain't good enough, and you know it. The fact that even though he's a great handler of the ball, that's just not going to cut it. He's not good enough. And so it makes me think, is my narrator going to look for a way to get past this barrier, to get around this conflict? Is he going to try to find a way to get better? Not if you want to be even more dominant next year in high school. That's why your ears perk up when you overhear a couple newcomers talking about Mooney Gym in Balboa Park. When you overhear the dude with love handles sitting on the stairs say to this boy, "It's the best run in the entire city." B, I put that on everything. So right here, opportunity kind of comes knocking. He hears an idea. He figures that this might be his way to get better. "You ranked him out," the other guy asks. "Nah, I used to ball there all the time before I tweaked my back. If you can hang with them big boys at Mooney Shoot, you can hang with just about anybody." Shelf the extra jumpers that night. Proceed instead to the local library and look up Mooney Gym online. Type the address into Google Earth and you'll discover it's right next to the Air and Space Museum your moms took you and your sis to back in the day. So right there is also another indication that our narrator is smart. He doesn't know much about this Mooney Gym, but he decides he's going to go look to the library and look it up. And the Air and Space Museum, if your calculations are correct, isn't but 5 miles from your pop's job at the factory. Wander into your cramped living room after dinner that night. Work up the guts to describe for your old man the importance of competing against the best. You've outgrown your local run. It's time to put a foot in the deep end. So what if he doesn't even know the rules of the game? If all he does is sit there silently inside the TV, working a toothpick in his teeth. So what do you think, Pop? About what? Would it be cool if I went with you to work every morning so I could play some ball down there? So he tries to seize on that opportunity. He's going to try to convince his dad to let him go to work with him. He'll look at you suspiciously, then turn back to his cop show and his toothpick. You'll take this as a no and assume the fate of the most important summer of your hoop development now rests in the hands of the county bus system. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a past experience that has happened in our narrator's life that makes him think his pops will say no. But you'll be wrong. A few minutes later, he'll mumble, better have your skinny butt out by the car by 5, I'll tell you that. Or else I'm leaving without you. He won't even look up when he tells you this. Doesn't matter. Your heart will race with excitement. So for our narrator, this is definitely a win. He gets what he wants from his father, and he is really excited about it. You'll tear into the room you share with your sis and lay your hoop gear out on the chair by your bed like some kind of giddy schoolgirl, which is pretty much how you'll feel. I think that's a great comparison there, to compare him to a giddy schoolgirl, laughing, full of excitement. But what I also notice here, it says he tears into his room he shares with his sis. So that also says something about the conditions in which our narrator lives. They live in kind of close quarters. Maybe he doesn't like sharing a room with his sister. That could be a little bit awkward given the fact that he's a teenager, she's a teenager, and they're both sharing a room. So again, the difference is not only are we looking at the wants and desires and barriers to help us form ideas about our main character, we're also looking at their past experiences that help to shape their perspective as well.